Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SalesIntel show, the Pipeline Pioneers, a podcast dedicated to share ideas and thoughts and the best practices for us to all build the strongest pipeline possible for our teams. Because revenue pipelines are the heart and the blood of any organization. And we at SalesIntel believe that building pipeline is a team sport. It's not just the responsibility of a BDR manager, BDR teams, or the marketing teams. It takes the village. Right? It truly takes a village to build a strong pipeline for the team. Today, I'm excited to have Nate Roybal from Syncari as my guest. Nate, welcome and thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited as well. So Nate, to begin, tell us a bit about yourself and how, in your role, you impact the pipeline generation for Syncari.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting question for us because we're a startup, right? So I get to do a little bit of everything. Primarily, my focus is on partnerships. So how can I essentially convince other people to sell my product, right? Which is a little bit of prospecting, a little bit of enablement, a little bit of sales, a little bit of marketing. It's a little bit of everything. And then, of course, I work closely with my sales team to help them understand when a partner can help them sell more deals, right? So kind of a couple angles there.
Oh, that's great. That is great. So you are directly impacting the pipeline generation for your team, which is awesome.
I hope so, yeah.
That's great. So Nate, last year was hard, right? It was tough for many companies. Along the way, made lots of mistakes, lessons learned. If you were to look back and pick one area of pipeline generation where you wish, what, I wish I had done things differently. What is that, and what's the lesson learned?
So for me, it's like a combination of maybe like social, doubling down on social, and then potentially more partnership stuff just because I'm a partner guy. So I would say that, yeah, last year was extremely hard, right? I think that we saw a lot of opportunities dry up, especially those of us who maybe made the mistake or wasn't necessarily a mistake of selling to SaaS companies,
Yep.
right? Typically the most forward-leaning, quickly to adopt software. We did the same thing. And so we saw a lot of fluctuations in our customers last year, right? To say it nicely. And
Yep.
We very quickly realized that we had to pivot and kind of go after a different market. And that was good and hard. And so, yeah, I'd say that as far as learning from it, I think that most SaaS companies suffer from this, right? We actually do not go out and say, hey, like beyond this little walled garden we've got of SaaS and startup life and everything, who actually cares about this? What is this actually doing for them? And how do we talk to them? So I think that my doubling down on social is part of that. Like, hey, these people live and they get their recommendations from their peers, right? So how can we double down on social and really harness that? And then the other piece is they listen to experts like partners in the world. And so how can we double down on that and get them to have the right conversations, putting us in as part of solutions and really going and solving problems for customers instead of going out and trying to throw cold calls at people that maybe are not as receptive as they used to be, right? So I think you have to have a really good mix of multi-channel to really be effective these days.
That makes sense. And I have an exercise for you when we get to that for multi-channel to see how do you distribute your bets. But before we get there, it's a new year, and we're all excited. New experiments, new ideas. Is there one idea that you are most excited about that you think will generate the strong pipeline for Syncari in 2024?
Hoping it's partners, but I mean beyond that, I think that for us, I would say it's not really about one specific channel, right? Like I would say it's actually about really multi-channeling it and building thought leadership in our approach, right? And what I'm coming to is like this idea that the moat in SaaS is not actually technology anymore. It's really hard to make a moat around technology and develop so quickly, right? SalesIntel luckily they have this whole database. So you guys have a little bit of a moat there where some other people maybe don't, right? But the thought leadership piece is, hey, how do I actually approach this? And why am I approaching it this way? And how do I get this done, right? And customers need that. So I think the biggest thing I'm honing in on is how do I align our entire organization, which, I said I do a lot of things, so this is one of the things that I kind of do on the side. How do I align an entire organization around a central go-to-market message, a central go-to-market value prop, and then really just hammer that home everywhere we go? So, I think like there's a little bit of a fear about that too, right? From SaaS companies, like, oh, maybe we turned some people off that we would have closed. And so I think there also has to be like a little bit of a, hey, maybe we kind of turn away some people that weren't a good fit in the past too, which is scary. So I think there's a little bit of focus that needs to happen. And I think that focus is something that maybe SaaS didn't necessarily need to be successful for the last 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years
Yeah.
since the last
Yeah,
real.
now I was on a podcast with Udi from Gong, and he was like, you know what, we need to do better with less. This whole notion of more with less instead of that better with less. So I agree with you. There's so much of free capital out there that lots of SaaS companies, we all got spoiled, and now the discipline is coming back. So I'm hearing 2024 is all about focus. It's all about the centralized go-to-market message for all go-to-market teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that gone are the days that an SDR team's off running their own motion, and a marketing team's running a different motion, and a CS team is delivering something completely different. And then, A's are selling whatever they can, right? I think that is long gone. And we saw that in the immense churn that SaaS saw last year, right? All these companies just suddenly standing up and being like, oh, wait, I don't think I need a lot of this stuff.
So I'm with you. So going back to your multi-channel, I have an exercise for you. I'm going to share a screen, and we will have a working exercise where, see my screen. So here are all your channels, right? Pipelines come from product-led growth to sales to marketing to events to partnership, right? It comes in many different flavors and through many channels. You have 100 pennies. Each of this coin on the left-hand side represents 10 pennies. If you have 100 pennies, how would you invest these 100 pennies in 2024 to generate the most optimal pipeline for Syncari?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great chart. I love this. This is a good exercise. So I would say brand, I'm going to give 20 to.
Perfect. Here we go. We brand 20.
I'm going to give partnership another 20 because
20.
I'm
Put
going
your money, right?
Yeah, put my money in office, right? I would say community is actually going to be a big one. So I would actually put another 20 there.
Perfect. Yeah.
And it depends on how you define community, but that doesn't matter. And then, so I've got 40 left. I would say we've got customer led is 10. Event is going to be 10.
Yeah.
Product led growth is definitely there. So yeah, I'd put 10 in product growth. And then somewhere between marketing and sales and founder. I like founder because it is, it's like brand, right? Yeah, I'll put it there. Let's put it there.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
This is great. Product-led growth. Let's just chat a little bit more about product-led growth. Do you think Syncari, let's just talk about it. Like, do you think Syncari as a product is designed and developed for someone to go and try it out so that you can then go and have conversations? So I would love your thoughts on product-led growth.
So product-led growth, I think, is interesting, right? We've been talking about it for, what is it, like 10, 15 years since Atlassian kind of pioneered it a bit. But I think that there's been this, so why I didn't put as many buckets there, right? I actually really believe in it, but I think that we've gone too far in the product-led growth angle. I think that we've swayed too far that way. And we haven't done enough branding, thought leadership, guiding people to get there, right? And it's not a self-service guide, at least on a business level, right? If you're going to go spend 20, 100, couple $100,000 on something, right? Works much better if you have a guide, right? And so what I think we at Syncari, right, we put a product-led motion. It's been semi-successful, but what we found is a lot of people don't want to figure out the complexity, trying to jump in the product and do everything. I think there's a lot of tools that need other tools or need existing infrastructure or need all this setup that makes it really hard to do product-led growth in a meaningful way without, maybe a salesperson that does like product assistant, like a Zapier, right? Zapier's famous for this. They don't even have a sales team, but they have a sales handoff team. Right?
Yep.
That does that. So I think product-led growth is definitely a really interesting one, but I think it's going to end up moving towards like a combination of marketing, sales, and product-led growth to really be, I guess, successful. It's like it needs to be multi-channel, right? You need to be generating these messages, and you need to have a salesperson guiding, and you need to have the product guiding and talking about the things this person cares about, which is pretty honestly hard. But yeah, if you can get all three of those things clicking together, and then your CS team is actually helping them get the polishing pieces and maybe grow, right? Then phenomenal, right? But that's really hard to get all those things moving together.
No, so it's good to see that you are putting your few pennies there to start that journey. So this is great. This is awesome. So now let's take a look at this. This slide shows you how industry, if you look at broader community, made their bets last year, right? And we are going to now overlay your bets on this chart to see how Nate's bets for 2024 for Syncari stack up against the community bets. What do you think of this chart? Do you see anything that surprises you to say, I would have never thought this would be the case?
Yeah. I actually didn't think as many people would go sales led, because I feel like last year, a lot of people who were throwing salespeople and they were just throwing salespeople at everything. It wasn't intelligently doing it. It was more like, hey, let's just hire salespeople and just grind them through and they'll figure it out. And I don't feel like it worked out very well for a lot of people, but maybe I'm misinterpreting. I think that the reality is that a lot of people need more assurance than just a salesperson, driving the entire process. But yeah, this is super interesting. And the reason I didn't choose marketing is because I feel like it's so noisy out there, and that's why I like community. I like partner led. I like brand led, because those are all break through the noise, right? Those all establish a foothold and grow that foothold without any noise really being able to penetrate them. So maybe it's for scale too.
2024, I'm hearing a lot more of community. I'm hearing brand partnership. So I think this chart, when I have, my goal is to have 100 plus leaders, practitioners, and the experts come in and contribute their ideas of 100 pennies. And when we look at this chart with all the data towards the end of the year, I bet it's going to look a lot different than it is, right now. But Nate, thank you so much for participating on this show. This has been awesome. I'm sure our viewers are going to get a lot of value, and I would love to chat with you sometime middle of the year to see how your bets are panning out, and have you changed your mind or you're continuing the course.
Yeah, I'd love to see how those bets played out. Thank you, Manoj.
Awesome. Thanks, Nate. Really appreciate it.